You are listening. Happy, healthy, successful Kleesman.
Hi everybody, this is Tamar. I'm the host of your happy, healthy and successful Kleesman podcast. Today I have Keijo with me. Hi Keijo, how are you? Tell us about yourself. Introduce yourself to our listeners, please.
Well, I'm a CEO of Kleesman Global, but in my everyday life, I work as attorney at law, and also the training we are having this year in Kleesman Global. This is also a bit related with law. So I have a law background. I have worked in law offices, I think 12 years by now. I also started in a smaller law office, and to become an attorney at all, in Estonia at least, where I come from, you have to graduate law. So I've studied 5 years law. After that, I went to work in one smaller law office. I changed it a few years later. But to become an attorney at law, what's a bit interesting about me is you have to pass another exam. It's quite hard. And on the day I passed it, I started my own law firm. So I always liked challenges.
Wow, that's impressive.
And this is also, I'm not saying that everything has been correct. And also I've seen what my clients have done and how they have been. So I have that kind of background and knowledge. And I think when we speak about major errors when you are starting a company, this is something that I know a lot.
Okay, amazing. We will get to that. Please first tell us about your background, the environment you grew up in, family background, education background, and so on. How you got where you are today?
Well, as I told you, I've always liked if I don't have only one obligation, not only school, not only one job or something like that. When I don't remember how old I was, but I tried to establish my first so-called organization, just me and a few friends, and we had an organization called UFO Club.
Oh.
And the aim of us was to search UFOs. So, and I've always liked, and we had member tickets and everything. It was a real organization, at least on paper and on our minds. But I always find it interesting to start something. Is it business or is it non-governmental or just fun? But I've always liked it.
Amazing. And how did you decide to choose law as your main career? At what point? What inspired you, if anything specific?
That's a hard question. I don't know. I just knew that the law is something that I want to deal with. When I was at high school, this is somewhere where I decided, but I don't have some specific reason. I just thought that this is right for me, and I think I was right. So I didn't have any backup. Well, when I went to university, I think, if I remember correctly, economics was also something that I was thinking about. And this was just a plan B. So I knew that the law is something that I want to study. And I got in and I graduated it, and I've been attorney more than 10 years by now.
Were you dreaming about it as a child, or was it all about UFOs back then?
UFOs is where it all started.
Okay.
I had a lot of new additional ideas also. I like papers and contracts. When I was a child and when I found, for example, some of our relatives had kept some old contracts, especially notary's contracts with all the stamps and things like that. I always thought that this is very interesting. And when I went to study law, I thought that I wished to be a contract law attorney. When I started studying law and got some also practical experiences, I understood that the contracts are not very interesting. And I continued with dispute resolution, so I like to go to court. Right now, I think that contracts are not so boring as I thought.
You changed your mind.
Well, they both have their own bads and goods. So if you compose a contract, for me, the problem is that if it's a bad contract, it's still a contract. If it's a good contract, it's still a contract. And whether your client understands it or not, it depends. If you go to court, you are winning or losing. It's very, very simple. Client knows it, I know it. Yes, we have cases where it is impossible to win. And for example, we can make a compromise and my client has to pay less. This is also a win because it's a case, it is not possible to win it. But if you are composing a contract, well, the outcome is always the same, a contract. And it's, I would also say that whether it's a bad or good contract, you will see it if you have a dispute regarding the contract. If you are, then you will see are there some mistakes in the contract, is something uncovered, and that's it. And in last few years, I've dealt more with contract law also, but business law, and also advising some clients who have wanted to invest. So this is also, I think, it's good, especially if you think about the training, because I have seen very close if somebody wants to invest in a new company, then what is important, what is not important. The name and the logo is not important. I've seen a lot of companies who are dealing with the logo or the name and forget the content of their business. So how you are being named, what's the logo, what's the font in your web page, this is not important at all. If you are the investor and thinking whether you invest in that company or not. So, but yes, some companies think that that's the main focus. It's not.
That's very interesting to hear about these specificities. So I wanted to also ask, you are somebody who has different sides in his career. Let's say you are a businessman, entrepreneur, you are a lecturer, you are a lawyer, obviously. So could you say what's the highlight of each of these fields for you that makes you personally fulfilled?
Well, I hope that I haven't seen my highlights yet. Yes, again, this is also something that shows that I'm a person who are not happy to deal with only one thing, one field. For example, yes, as you mentioned, I also teach at university, TalTech in Estonia, Tallinn. And I teach medical law. In Estonia is a small country, which means that we don't have a lot of medical disputes. So we don't have attorneys in Estonia who only deal with medical law. But at least I'm one of them who is dealing with them, and this is also very interesting. And again, why I think this is interesting is, we have that law part, definitely. But again, this is something in addition what is completely different, medicine. I'm not a doctor, I have no medical background, but still, if I have medical cases, I have to evaluate whether there has been a medical error or not. So yes, we have the legal background, but in addition, we have to analyze the medical part. Again, I have my limits, I'm not a doctor. What I think, this is not irrelevant in court, but still, if I analyze the case, this is something that I have to think about.
That was news for me about the medical law, so now I'm intrigued and I need to ask you. Yes. Maybe you can remember some specific case, very interesting case. You don't have to share all the details, of course, but something to tell our listeners what kind of medical issues you may deal with in Estonia.
Well, medical cases are sad cases because if you have a medical error, it means, and if it goes on a desk of attorney, It means that this is not a small problem. I have had a lot of cases where we have children 3, 4, 5 years old. As a result of medical error, the child is not able to speak, talk, walk, and so things like that. So these are the serious cases.
Oh, that's terrible. I was hoping for something more neutral, but yes, I understand that must
And
be
also we have a lot of cases regarding the plastic surgery, which means that people are not happy with the result.
And they sue their doctors,
Yes.
surgeons. Okay.
So what is interesting about my life as an attorney, I only see problems. My whole working day is solving problems. So this is, I have also spoke with some people who are not attorneys anymore, and they are telling that this is also one of the biggest problem. If you are attorney, everything is quite serious. You only deal with problems, and it can be something that people don't want to deal with.
Is it also helping you in your personal life, this approach that you deal with problems head on, you need to solve them? Can you take it in your own life as well, or is it
I
all
have to
about
speak
you?
with my wife. What she thinks about it. I don't-
Maybe next time she should visit us. Tell us about it. Okay, and I would also want to ask, you also manage, you're a managing partner in a law firm, right?
Yes.
So what are the main challenges of managing a law firm?
Finding clients, keeping the team together, these are the main problems. Because if you are attorney, you have the knowledge, and usually, yes, of course, if we have something to discuss, we will discuss it inside our law firm. But if the client has a problem and the client has attorney, they are working together, and me as a managing partner, I don't have to deal with all the cases. So mainly my job is to find clients and to keep the team happy. These are the main tasks.
Okay, amazing. That's very interesting. I'm looking forward for our next session where we go deeper in the topic of managing business and related risks and shareholders and so on. So stay tuned. Keijo will be back with us in our next episode.
You were listening Happy, Healthy, Successful Kleesman. You can find more information on our website kleesman.com.